Leveling up is not about doing more. It's about stopping what brings you down. There are habits, thoughts, and attitudes that are silently sabotaging you. And you feel it. The soul wants to rise, but something pulls you down. This weight is not external. It's in your daily choices. And if you don't cut it out, you won't get anywhere. You already feel the calling. You know you are ready for something greater. But you keep repeating patterns that no longer align with your new consciousness. This incoherence is exhausting. It drains you. And what should be progress turns into stagnation. Growth requires decisions. And the first one is to stop what no longer makes sense. Some things need to end before the next phase begins. And that responsibility is yours. You can continue carrying the old, or you can let go now. The path is open, but it requires lightness. This video is a warning and also a portal. The choice is yours. Stay where you are, or break free and rise. Today you will see what is blocking your spiritual and personal evolution. These are common attitudes, but for those who bear the mark of the chosen, they weigh more. Because your path is higher. And for that reason, it is cleaner. What you let go of now can release everything that has been stuck for years. Before continuing, make sure to follow the channel and turn on notifications. Here you will find what you need to move forward with awareness, clarity, and courage. You start to feel that you can no longer maintain the same role as before. That group, that job, that routine. Everything feels tight. Even if the people haven't changed, you have. And trying to fit back into a place where you no longer belong hurts. This pain is the signal. Forcing the old disconnects you from what is being born. The discomfort appears in the little things. You arrive at a place and feel your body lock up. You participate in conversations and remain silent. You see behaviors that no longer align with who you are becoming. But even so, you try to hold on. You try to please. You try to maintain an image that is no longer you. Deep down, you know that you no longer belong in these spaces. But you are afraid to leave. Afraid of seeming ungrateful, odd, different. And so you stay there, smiling on the outside and suffocating on the inside. However, maintaining this disguise comes at a price. Each day you lose a piece of your essence. Stopping the attempt to fit in is not arrogance. It is courage. It is recognizing that you are not above others. You are just in a different moment. And that's okay. Your vibration has changed, and this naturally demands new environments, new relationships, new postures. You cannot grow and continue pretending that nothing has changed. There are places that will only accept you if you dim your light. There are conversations that only work if you pretend you feel nothing. There are routines that require you to ignore your own intuition. And then you need to choose, to be accepted or to be whole. The chosen ones know when it's time to step off the stage. By stopping the force of presence where there is no longer a connection, you create space for the new. Different people show up, more aligned paths emerge, and most importantly, you reconnect with yourself. You start to breathe lightly again. Because you are no longer molding yourself, you are simply being who you really are, without needing to ask for permission to exist. The world you belong to does not require effort. It welcomes your truth. It understands your silence. It recognizes your energy. But it only appears after you let go of what is false. While you insist on fitting into what has ended, the new remains on hold. It only enters when the old leaves. Trying to please everyone is a disguised prison. You give your power into the hands of others. You live in the expectation of acceptance, even knowing that it never comes fully. Real peace is born when you accept that not everyone will understand your journey, and even so you continue on it with firmness. There is immense power in saying, "This is no longer for me." This phrase changes roots. It cuts ties that have already expired. It frees the soul to move forward. And when spoken with truth, it aligns everything around you. Because the universe understands clarity, it responds when you take a stand. If you are feeling disconnected from where you are, listen to this carefully. It is not trivial. It is evolution. Your soul is asking for space, and you need to heed that request. Stop trying to fit. Stop pretending. Start walking in the direction of your truth, even if it's alone at first. That's where everything changes. Intuition does not shout. It whispers. It is a sensation in the body, a slight discomfort, a certainty that comes without explanation. And even so, we insist on ignoring it. We prefer to wait for proof, confirmations, logic. But those who are chosen do not walk by logic. They walk by feeling. And when they doubt that feeling, they lose their own way. Have you ever had that feeling that something wasn't right, and then discovered that you were right to feel that way? Have you ever wanted to do something very much, but withdrew out of fear, and then regretted it? Intuition spoke. You felt it. But you let fear take command, and fear will always try to silence what comes from the soul. The chosen have a more active intuition, clearer, firmer, but it also requires more responsibility. Because the more you ignore what you feel, the heavier everything becomes. Life starts to tighten. Situations repeat themselves. Discomfort grows. All of this to remind you that you are going against what you know is right. Doubt enters when you try to explain what does not need to be explained. Intuition is not rational. It is energy. And energy is not proven with arguments. It is confirmed with movement. You feel, decide, act. And then the world responds. But if you wait for logic before action, you stall. What you feel is real. The tightness in your chest is a warning. The sudden lightness is a green light. The body reacts before the mind understands. And ignoring this costs you time, energy, and peace. Intuition protects you, guides you, anticipates you. It is a map. But you need to trust it to follow. You do not need to understand the reason for everything. You just need to feel if it is or isn't for you. The mind wants to control. The soul wants to flow. And this conflict is what creates doubt. When you learn to listen more to the body than to fear, you start making choices based on truth, not on defense. Perhaps you have been taught to distrust yourself, to ask for opinions on everything, to wait for permission. But that phase is over. Now it's you with you. The chosen do not follow the advice of the masses. They follow their internal signal. And the more you respect this, the clearer everything becomes. The answers come. The doors open. Peace returns. You don't need to be certain to act. You just need to trust the first step. The rest reveals itself along the way. Sometimes your soul asks to go out. Other times it asks to wait. Sometimes it asks to take risks. It doesn't matter what it says. What matters is that you listen. Because when you listen and follow, everything changes. Intuition is an ancient voice, much older than your fears. It has guided you before. It knows the way. And it is speaking again now. If you feel something is wrong, it is. If you feel you should go that way, you should. The error is not in feeling. It is in doubting all the time. The chosen need to learn to trust what they feel, even when it does not make sense to anyone else. The soul knows. And when you stop doubting, you begin to walk with more lightness, more clarity, more truth. Stop waiting for external confirmation. Your feelings are enough, and it's your feelings that will take you further. Guilt is silent, but heavy. You may be smiling on the outside, functioning normally. But on the inside, you carry old scenes, words spoken, decisions you wish you had made differently. This accumulates, and without realizing it, you begin to punish yourself. You sabotage yourself. You diminish yourself. All because, deep down, you believe that you do not deserve to move forward. When you punish yourself, you place yourself in a cycle of repetition. The same pains, the same patterns, the same blockages. Not because the world is against you, but because you are stuck in what has already passed. It's like trying to run with chains on your feet. You try, but something always pulls you back. Mistakes happened. Yes, they happened. But they were part of your formation. They were experiences. They were teachers. What hurt taught you. What you caused showed you the limits. What you lost taught you to appreciate. You do not need to erase the past. You need to accept what you have lived and move forward with more awareness. Forgiveness is not pretending that nothing happened. It is not forgetting. It is looking back with maturity and saying, I did what I could with what I knew at the time. And that is enough. Forgiveness is an act of respect for your own story and for the person you are today. You are not the mistake. You are the one who survived it, overcame it, grew, learned. And you are here now, wanting to change. That already says it all. It doesn't matter what others think or expect. What matters is that you are ready to let go of the weight. And yes, it is possible to live in peace with what has passed. While you punish yourself, the soul cannot move on. It remains stuck, bound to the past. And that prevents you from living the present fully. Stop hurting yourself by remembering what can no longer be changed. Use what happened as a drive, not as a prison. Life wants to see you light, not bound to what has already been. You are not a bad person. You are just someone learning like everyone else. The chosen also make mistakes, but they do not live trapped by the mistake. They use what they have lived as a tool, as a foundation, as strength. And that is what you can do now. Stop repeating the pain and turn it into wisdom. Your new cycle does not need to carry the weight of the old cycle. Releasing guilt is an act of courage, an act of self-love, and your soul is asking for it. What is left behind has already fulfilled its role. Now it is you who needs to fulfill yours. Move forward, lighter and freer. Not every bond is love. Sometimes it's attachment. Other times, it's fear. You stay because you think you won't find something better, or because you've been there too long. But if you're honest with yourself, you know that connection drains you, that you leave smaller than you entered. And that's not love, it's weariness. Some relationships may look good on the outside, but inside, there is manipulation disguised as care, control dressed up as protection. You feel you need to walk on eggshells, choose your words, and measure your presence. You continuously prune yourself. And when you limit yourself too much to keep someone close, the price is your own truth. And that tires the soul. The chosen need to understand that real connection does not weigh you down. Yes, it can have challenges, but it does not require suffocation. Any relationship that demands you to diminish yourself, hide or betray yourself, is draining your vital energy. And when your energy is low, you cannot access your power. You do not hear your intuition. You cannot expand. You do not need permission to distance yourself from what harms you. The idea that cutting someone off is cruelty needs to be reconsidered. Cutting ties, when done with awareness and respect, is an act of healing. It is a stance. It is saying, I choose to respect myself, and those who truly love you will understand that. Maintaining ties out of pity is another kind of prison. You think you are helping, but you are delaying your own evolution, and the other person's too. When you hold someone in a dysfunctional cycle, you prevent both from growing. Sometimes, Letting go is the greatest act of love possible. There are people who exhaust you just by being present, who drain you with sweet words, who feed on your brightness and leave you dim afterward. Pay attention. Your body speaks. If you feel tired after meeting someone, or if it takes you hours to recover, there's imbalance there, and you need to protect your energy. Loving from a distance is also love. You can honor what you experienced, thank for the learning, and follow another direction. You don't need to shout. You don't need to fight. You just need to stop insisting. A relationship that only works with unilateral effort is not a partnership. It's dependence. And the chosen were not made to depend. They were made to expand. This expansion only happens when you are surrounded by truth, by clean exchanges, by people who cheer for you without needing to control you, who vibrate when you grow, who accept your light without trying to dim it. And these people only arrive when you stop sustaining bonds that no longer have life. The idea that it is selfish to distance yourself from those you love is one of the greatest spiritual blockages. True selfishness is abandoning yourself to keep someone else. That, indeed, is betrayal. Not to the other, but to yourself. And every time you betray yourself, the universe pauses your evolution. Because it only releases the next level when you choose yourself. You do not need to go around breaking ties with everyone, but you need to be honest. Look at each bond and ask, does this strengthen me or drain me? And if the answer is clear, act. Because your energy is sacred, and those who do not know how to take care of it should not have unrestricted access to you. You have started to change. Your way of thinking is different. The words that come out of your mouth are no longer the same, and your outlook on the world has deepened. But instead of showing this, you hide. Because you know that if you expose yourself, you will be questioned, judged, perhaps even rejected. And that still scares you. You do not need to explain your journey to those who do not want to listen. Nor do you need to justify yourself. Your process is sacred, and those who want to walk by your side will understand this over time. Now, the most important thing is for you to stop hiding, because when you annul yourself, the world loses a light that it needed to shine. There is fear there, of course, fear of being misunderstood, of becoming a target, of being alone. But staying silent to avoid judgment also leaves you alone. Alone with yourself. Alone with your truth. Alone with your essence. And that internal loneliness is much heavier than any external criticism. The chosen did not come to be the same. They came to break patterns, provoke reflections, and spark new ideas. And this will always generate discomfort in those who still live in the dark. Your brightness disturbs those who have not yet recognized their own. But that is not a reason to dim yourself. It is a reason to shine even brighter. The more you stand your ground, the more the right people will come close. And the more you hide, the further away you get from those who could truly recognize you. You did not come to fit in. You came to make your presence felt. And those who judge your light are still in a shadow phase. It's not about you, it's about them. The world needs your presence in its entirety. And that starts when you choose not to hide anymore. Stop softening your voice. Stop downplaying your truth. Speak, live, choose with firmness. Because when you show yourself, others feel empowered to do the same. Everything starts in the mind. If you repeat daily that you are not capable, that you do not deserve, that it will never work out, the universe responds, not because it wants to punish you, but because it obeys your frequency. And thoughts of scarcity create a limited reality. The chosen were not called to live trapped in lack. They were called to expand. Scarcity is not always material. Often, it is emotional. It is the feeling of never being good enough, of not being worthy of love, recognition, or rest. This mentality settles in subtly and starts contaminating everything. You begin to accept crumbs because you think it is what you can have. And this blocks your evolution. The soul of the chosen already knows the way. It feels that something great is waiting. But the mind, programmed by fear, insists on limiting. It says it's not possible, that it's too late, that it won't work. This internal conversation needs to change. You cannot level up while carrying a mindset that pulls you down. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "When everything is right, I'll start"? This thought is more common than it seems. Most people wait. They wait to have more time, more money, more support, more clarity. But this waiting turns into paralysis. And over time, it becomes frustration. The truth is simple. The perfect moment never arrives. Waiting too much is a disguised form of fear. You convince yourself that you are being prudent, strategic, careful, but inside, you are just delaying what you already know needs to be done. Perfectionism in this case is just a blockage, an attempt to protect yourself from risk. But risk is part of growth. The chosen were not called to live in the promise of one day. They were called to act with faith, even amid uncertainty. The most powerful step is not the one taken with all the guarantees. It is the one taken with courage, despite the doubt, because that is the step that moves the invisible. You do not need to have everything figured out to start. Begin with what you have, with the tools that are available to you now, with the strength that remains, with the clarity that already exists. The great movements of life do not happen when everything is aligned. They align everything when they happen. Waiting may seem comfortable, but it drains your energy. With each day you postpone, your soul becomes more restless, because it knows that you could have already started. And when the soul calls, ignoring that call hurts. And the pain of not acting is always greater than the pain of trying and failing. Many people say they don't feel ready yet. But readiness does not come before action. It comes after. It is in the middle of the journey that you strengthen yourself, learn, and adjust. Acting is what builds confidence. Waiting passively only feeds doubt. Movement, no matter how small, already breaks the cycle of stagnation. There are things that only reveal themselves when you enter the process. The answers you seek so much are not in planning. They are in the experience, in the step taken, in the choice made. The clarity that is lacking now will arise when you allow yourself to live the path, and not just think about it. The chosen have a mission, and missions do not wait for comfort, perfection, or guarantees. Missions require commitment, and the commitment begins with the simple act of saying, "Now, it's going to happen." Even if it seems small, start. Do it with fear. Do it without knowing everything. Do it with your heart. Because the heart already knows where to go. While you wait for the perfect moment, time passes, and time does not return. Opportunities do not wait, and some doors only open when you get close. If you stay still, they remain closed. But if you approach, even with small steps, they react to your courage. Movement activates miracles. You do not need to have certainties, you just need to have determination. Stopping waiting is a vote of confidence in yourself. It is admitting that you may make mistakes, but will learn. That you may not know everything, but you are willing. And it is exactly this posture that makes life conspire in your favor. Life responds intensely to those who act with truth. The next level of your journey is ready, but it only activates when you move. And this movement starts now. There comes a time when insisting hurts more than letting go. You feel this when you realize that you are carrying what no longer serves you. Ideas, people, habits, stories that have already fulfilled their role. but remain there taking up space. The chosen know. Growing is not about accumulating, it's about letting go. That is what clears the way. Leveling up requires lightness. It is not about fighting more, running more, proving more. It is about giving up what limits you, what holds you back inside. Sometimes it's just a repeated thought. Other times an old guilt, or a bond that restrains you. But whatever it is, you already know what you need to let go of. The soul shows signs. The body speaks with fatigue. The heart asks for space. Everything points to liberation. However, it doesn't happen without a decision. You need to choose to leave behind what is preventing you from moving forward. And this is not weakness. It's maturity. It's the courage to live the new without the shackles of the old. The chosen are not called to carry the world on their backs. They are called to live with awareness, with presence, with purpose. And this is only possible when you stop dragging what no longer vibrates with who you are becoming. Less baggage, more truth. Less effort, more flow. Now that you have come this far, do a simple but powerful thing. Comment below. What do you know you need to let go of to level up? It can be an attitude, a pattern, a relationship, a fear. Sharing is a step, and those who put into words what they feel begin to transform with more strength. Your next level is ready. Now all that's left is for you to be ready too.